Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktāya Tadbhaktāya Namo Namaha. Vandeham Shri Guru Varam Shri Rupanuga Pravram Rajrasrasikam Cha Narayanam Tam Rapannam Shri Guru Charanam Vande Ramanapishthaya Bhutale Rupanuga Bhaktidam Cha Kripamurti Narayanam. So first of all, I offer my Dandavata Pranams, the lotus feet of our spiritual masters, Tla Srimad Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev, Tla Srimad Bhaktivedanta Shri Vaman Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev, to the entire Rupana Gauriya Guru Varga, to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So, continuing the celebrations of yesterday, wherein we celebrated the appearance day of this great Ram Sevak, Sri Hanuman. Also coincided with the Avirbhav Tithis of Sri Vamshivadana and Thakur, Shьямананды Prabhu, Baldev Prabhu's Ras Yatra and Sri Krishna's Vasanti Ras. So we see here how Hanuman, he embodies Dasya Bhav. So what is the speciality of Dasya Ras? We see in Shantaras there is Nishtha towards one's Ishtadev. There is this unflinching faith towards one's worshipful Lord. And we see that Dasya Ras is characterized by one more quality. What is that? Mamata. There is possessiveness towards one's Lord. Means there is so much mamata towards one's Prabhu. Like we see in Sakhya, there is Vishramba, intimacy. And in Vatsalya, there is Lalan Palan, means one always looks after also. He feeds one's Ishtadev, clothes him, looks after him. And then in Madhurya, there is Nijanga Seva, means by one's own form, one serves one's Ishtadev. So here we see Hanuman, he is the ideal devotee of Dasya Bhav. We see how he is, how he served. We see in Sanatana Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he has described the different gradations of devotees. And Srila Gurudev, this was one of his favorite topics, to speak on all these different gradations of devotees. There is the Jnani Bhakta. Gurudev would begin from Prahlad. Who Prahlad was, Maharaj was the Jnani Bhakta. We say Prahlad is a Mahabhagavat who sees his Prabhu in the hearts of everyone. He sees that there is nothing that exists separately from his Prabhu. So he feels that there is no need to serve his Prabhu because his Prabhu is Bhagavan himself. But still we say Prahlad also, he has some moods of service. Because if he is saying Shravan Kirtan Smaran Vardhan Narchan Vandan Dasya Sakam Atma Nivedanam, it means he is also rendering service in all these different limbs also. Because it is said in some Puranas that Prahlad, while sitting on the ocean, he would be weeping in separation from his Prabhu. And sometimes he would also be very ecstatic. So anyhow, but still, he has been generalized, categorized under this category as a Jnani Bhakta. And then there is the Shuddha Bhakta. So as you know, Ambarish Maharaj, he is the Shuddha Bhakta. How he served in all different ways. Using every part of his body, he served Krishna. The speciality of Ambarish Maharaj is, he embodies all the 9 limbs of devotion. No, like we hear that Prahlad, he embodies the limb of Smaran. Sukadeva Goswami embodies the limb of Kirtan. Parikshit Maharaj, he embodies the limb of Shravan. Akrura, he embodies the limb of Vandanam. Lakshmiji, she embodies the limb of Padasevanam. Prithu Maharaj, he embodies this limb of Archan. Arjun embodies this limb of Sakhyam. Hanuman himself, he embodies this limb of Dasyam. And Bali Maharaj, he embodies this limb of Atma Nivedanam. Actually, the best examples of Atma Nivedana are the gopis themselves. But still, when these limbs are generalized, categorized, then they are shown by one particular devotee who embodies these limbs. So you see, Ambarish Maharaj, he embodies all these different limbs of devotion, all the 9. So he is therefore Shuddha Bhakta, pure devotee. And then more than Ambarish Maharaj also, we see there's Hanuman. Because we see Ambarish Maharaj, he used to serve the deity form of the Lord. No, he used to serve the deity of the Lord with so much affection. But Hanuman, he used to serve his Prabhu. His Prabhu himself he used to serve with so much affection. Like that day we heard, no, from the Vaishnavas on Ram Navami, how when Mahiravan kidnapped Ram and Lakshman, when Mahiravan took them away to this Patal Loka, there Hanuman, he fought with his son. It is said in the Puranas that when Hanuman fell into the ocean, one drop of his sweat was swallowed by a fish. And from that fish, he was born, Hanuman's son. So this way, Hanuman was fighting with him. And then how when Hanuman defeated Mahiravan and carried Ram and Lakshman on his shoulders. And he performed so many different services. And how himself, we see how Hanuman is breaking the pride of everyone. How he broke the pride of Arjun, Garuda, even Sudarshan Chakra also. It is said that once he started biting the Sudarshan Chakra so much, and he put the Sudarshan Chakra around his finger as a ring. Even. But we see sometimes Hanuman's pride was also broken. He also broke the pride of Bhim also. No. Draupadi, she told Bhim to bring some flowers for her worship. So Bhim, he had to pass through one forest. There he saw an old monkey lying down, calling out, "Oh Ram," calling out to his Prabhu. So then he told this old monkey, "Move out of the way," he said. "I have to bring these flowers." Then he didn't say anything. Just kept saying, "Oh Ram, oh Ram." And then he said, "If you don't move, then I'll move you out." And then he tried lifting him by his tail. He could not move his tail even 1 inch. Then Bhim thought, who is this old monkey? Then after that he realized, he was told it was Hanuman himself, his elder brother. So we say that Hanuman is breaking the pride of everyone. But there's one instance where Hanuman's pride was broken. It is said in Rameshwaram, when Sita ji, she wanted to have a linga, Shivlinga, to offer worship to. So Sri Ramachandra, he told Hanuman to bring a Shivlinga from Kashi, so that he could establish that Shivlinga on the banks of the ocean in Rameshwaram. So then Hanuman immediately flew to Kashi. And then while he was bringing this Shivlinga from Kashi to have it established, Ram, he saw that the time was passing. So what did he do? Sita ji, she saw that there was no time left. So she made a linga out of the sand. And then she established that linga there in Rameshwaram. So when Hanuman came, he became very sad when he realized that the linga had already been established. So then he was very sad. So then it is said that he even tried removing this linga. He wrapped his tail around this linga and he tried removing it as strongly as he could by his hands, by his entire body. And then he was thrown into the ocean this time. He fell into the ocean. Then he was humbled. Then he realized that this linga that has been established by Sita ji is most glorious. But still Ram, he blessed Hanuman that anyone who comes for darshan in Rameshwaram, first he'll take darshan of the linga that you have bought, and then the linga that Sita ji is established. This way, then his darshan is complete, or else it is incomplete. It does not bear the complete fruit. So this way we see Hanuman having such dhasya bhav. He's serving his Prabhu with so much mamata. And we see that even when Narad Rishi in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when he went to meet Hanuman, he glorified Hanuman in so many different ways, saying, "You served in that way, this way." But Hanuman said, "If I have served in such ways, then why has my Prabhu left me here? Why has he left me behind?" He took everyone along with him. As we know, when Ramchandra entered into the Sarayu with all his associates, everyone entered except for Hanuman. So why did my Prabhu leave me here then? Why am I suffering here in separation from him? So then we heard the reason that Ramchandra, he wants Hanuman himself to speak his glories to everyone. Like how Krishna, he wants Sukadeva Goswami to speak his glories to everyone, so he left Sukadeva Goswami behind. Similarly, Ramchandra, he wants Hanuman to speak everyone's glories. Therefore, here we see that wherever there is Ram, Hanuman is surely to be remembered. And wherever there is Hanuman, Ram is surely to be remembered. In one way, it is saying that Ram was sent to the forest for only one reason, so that he could meet Hanuman. Because his devotee Hanuman was waiting for him there. So only to meet him, he left the forest there. And we see how Hanuman, it is said that when his tail was burnt, Sitaji herself was praying that nothing should happen to him. And then she was praying, I was praying that nothing will happen to your tail. Therefore Hanuman was not even injured a little, because Sitaji herself was praying. And then we hear also, in that pastime, that Love Kush, they bound Hanuman to the tree. And then they told Sitaji that, we have bound a very mysterious creature around the tree. Can you just see who it is? And then Sitaji, she said, he's my elder son. Just as you two are my sons, he is your elder brother. You bound him, you don't have so much, you should never do this. Immediately release him. And then they released him this way. So Sita Devi herself, she had so much love for Hanuman as her elder son. And we see that in Hampi especially, there are so many pastimes of Hanuman that took place there. In Hampi, in Kishkinda, in Rishimukh Parvat, and all these different places. Like Hanuman, like he was cursed, saying you will forget all your past. And then that curse was removed. When they were on the ocean, there someone had to jump over the ocean. So they were thinking, who will do? So then Jambavan, he said, I can jump over the ocean. Because when Vamandev placed his one foot on earth, Jambavan, he did parikrama of the earth 4 times. So Jambavan said, I can jump over the ocean, but still now I'm a little old, he said. So I don't know if I can complete the task fully. I have a little doubt, because now I'm not so young like how I was before. And then Angad, he said, I can jump over, but I cannot return, he said. I don't have so much strength to return. I can cross into Lanka, but I cannot return, he said. So everyone, they were taking turns. Sugriv said, even I don't know if I can do. And then Jambavan was the one who reminded Hanuman of his powers. Then he told Hanuman, you don't know who you are. You're the son of Anjana, the Anjana Sutta, Kesari. You forgot your powers because you are creating so much mischief that the sadhus, they said, now you will forget all your powers. When you need them the most, then you will have them. So now is the time when you need them the most to serve your Prabhu. So now remember all your powers. At that time, Hanuman, he remembered who he was. And one leap he took, and then as we know, he was met by some monster in the middle of the ocean, and then he jumped across to Lanka. And then as we know, we see even in Tulsidasa's Ramcharitmanas also, this Sundarkand, Uttarakhand or Sundarkand? So Sundarkand, we see, that's the most celebrated part of Ramcharitmanas. This is the part where Hanuman is always there in Lanka, destroying everyone there. So we see, he is one of the most beloved devotees of Ram for a reason. And where there is Hanuman, surely there is Ram also, wherever he is remembered. So yesterday was his Avirbhav Tithi, and yesterday also was the Avirbhav Tithi of so many associates of Mahaprabhu, like Shyamananda Prabhu, Vamshivadana and Thakur. We say Shyamananda Prabhu, why is he especially regarded by all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas? Because we say of his nishtha towards Srimati Radhika. He served the Kunjas of Braj only for one reason, to please Srimati Radhika. That was his only aim. Like Gurudev used to always utter this shlok, the Shyama Sundara Sikanda Shekara Smeraha Samurali Manohara Radhika Rasikamam Kripanade Swapriya Charanam Kinkarim Kuru. He would say, oh Shyam Sundar, if you're pleased with me, then please admit me as one of your maidservants. So here we see Shyamananda Prabhu is serving Srimati Radhika only for one reason, to please her. Because if she is pleased, Krishna is automatically pleased. No need to please Krishna separately. So this way Srimati Radhika herself gave darshan to Shyamananda Prabhu. And then I mentioned this there, that I asked the Vaishnavas that when Shyamananda Prabhu put the ankle bell around Srimati Radhika, did he do it in his self-same form as a Purush or as a Manjari of Srimati Radhika? Because it is said that that he cannot be, that Srimati Radhika cannot be seen by men, by those who have these, by those who have the forms of men at least. But still, the Vaishnavas, they told me that if that was the case, then Shyamananda Prabhu is like a Baddha Jiva then. He has a body made of 5 elements. So how can that be? This is not true. So in that form itself, he put this ankle bell around Srimati Radhika's feet. So this way we see even in their sadhak sharirs also, they are only conscious of their swarups as the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. But still, for some specific reasons, they also, just to set an example to the world, they sometimes manifest themselves and manifest their moods as being that of a male. But that is only to set an example for everyone. So we see how Shyamananda Prabhu considered Jiva Goswami to be his ideal guru. He considered Hridaya Chaitanya Thakur also, but Jiva Goswami especially, because Jiva Goswami was giving him everything. You see, in his Bhagavad Parampara, this is the speciality, that even if one has not taken initiation, still one considers that person who is giving him Siksha to be his everything. Like we see, the 6 Goswamis, they were not initiated by Mahaprabhu. They did not receive formal initiation. Has it been said anywhere that Mahaprabhu gave initiation to them? It is not mentioned anywhere that Mahaprabhu even had any disciples also. It is not mentioned anywhere. But still the 6 Goswamis are considered to be the ideal followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we see this Rupanug Vichar Dhara also. This Rupanug line is continuing to this day. But is Rupa Goswami giving Diksha to anyone? He only had one disciple, Jiva Goswami. But still, everyone, if they say that, everyone is so proud to say that our parampara is the Rupanug Gaudiya parampara, the Rupanug Gaudiya Guru Varga. How can this be if Rupa Goswami is not given anyone initiation? Why? Because the Vichardhara, it flows this way. From one guru to another guru. That is passed down from their hearts. So this is Shyamananda Prabhu, he received everything from Jiva Goswami. And then we see how he preached everywhere. So much so that in Medinipur, one Gaudiya Math was established in his name, the Shyamananda Gaudiya Math. This is Shyamananda Prabhu, Narottam Thakur and Srinivas Acharya. Although they were not formally initiated by Jiva Goswami, still they spread the word of Mahaprabhu far and wide. And also yesterday was the appearance day of Vamshivadana Thakur. We've heard from the Vaishnavas that why is Mahaprabhu worshipped as Sri Sachinandan Gaur Hari? Because we see that we always utter Mahaprabhu's sannyas name in his pranam mantra. When we address Mahaprabhu, we don't address him as Gauranga or as Sachinandan. No. If let's say we're talking anything about Mahaprabhu, we don't say, oh Sachinandan went here, oh Gauranga went here. No, we say Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu went here, Mahaprabhu went there. Mahaprabhu performed this lila, he gave this instruction. So if this was the case, then why don't we worship his Sarup in the form of a sannyasi? Why worship him in his Navdeep form? Why? Because the answer we got was because Vishnupriya Devi herself worshipped Mahaprabhu in that form. Even after he took sannyas, we see Vishnupriya Devi, she worshipped Mahaprabhu in his form as Sachinandan Gaur Hari, in his Navdeep form. And we see that in his deity form, Mahaprabhu, he is present as Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu. So we see that this form of Mahaprabhu manifested from a neem tree. And we see that this tree had actually stored the image of Mahaprabhu within its own self. This is called Sarupanu Bandi Prem. Like Giriraj Govardhan, what does he do? Every Shila of Giriraj has stored the image of Radha and Krishna within its own self. Similarly, the tree had stored Mahaprabhu's image within its own self. So therefore, we say that when Mahaprabhu manifested this deity from this tree, actually the tree itself had the deity. And then the deity was anyhow given to Vishnupriya Devi. And then we say the deity was worshipped in Mayapur. But then Vamshivadana Thakur, he brought the deity from Mayapur to Navdeep, Kulia. Because the Ganga was changing her course. So Mayapur was again going to be submerged in water. And then Vamshivadana Thakur, he established this deity there. And then as you know, everyone knows who Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu is. So say Vamshivadana Thakur, he did what no one else could do. That is pacify the associates of Mahaprabhu. He pacified all of them who were feeling such intense pangs of separation. And we see like how Baldev Prabhu, how he pacified the gopis. The gopis were feeling so much separation. But the thing about prem, about love is, although one is feeling so much separation, he will never admit. Like we see when Uddhav met Srimati Radhika, Uddhav told Srimati Radhika told Uddhav that Uddhav never mentioned to Krishna that we are suffering so much in separation from him. Never mentioned to him. Why? Because Krishna, his heart is like an old cloth. You see, an old cloth, if you rinse it in water and if you twist it, what will happen? It will tear. It will not stay because it's already old. It's been washed so many times. So similarly, Krishna's heart has become like an old cloth, like an old ragged cloth. So Uddhav, if you tell Krishna that we're feeling so much separation from him, then what will happen? The whole cloth will tear into pieces. Means his heart will break. And he might even give up his life. So don't tell Krishna that we're feeling so much separation. Rather tell him that we're happy. Where he is, he's happy, and where we are happy. If he can forget us, then we have forgotten him. So this is the sacrifice that the gopis are making. That they will not admit their separation even for Krishna. So therefore we see Krishna, he could not send anyone to Braj except for his own elder brother, Baladev Prabhu. Because Uddhav, we see that Uddhav, it is said that when he saw the height of the gopis' prem was like Mount Everest itself. And Uddhav, when he was seeing this mountain, what happened? The cap that he was wearing, the hat, it is said like symbolically, the hat was the hat of Gyan, this topi. So as he was looking at the Everest of the gopis' prem, which was higher and higher, what happened? His cap fell down. And then it is said that whatever knowledge he had, what is the meaning of Gyan Gudadi? Means whatever knowledge Uddhav had about Krishna Tattva, this Tattva, that Tattva, what did the gopis do? They took all that knowledge and they had him throw it away into the Yamuna. And then from the Yamuna it went into the ocean, into the salty ocean where it dissolved. So this way Uddhav could not be sent there because the Vrajavasis will not even believe what Uddhav is going to say anymore. And then what happened? Krishna sent Baladev Prabhu himself there. And Baladev Prabhu, he went there and he did what no one else could do. That is pacify the Vrajavasis, pacify the Vrajagopis. And this way we've heard many times from the Vaishnavas that he did not perform Ras Leela with the gopis. He did not do this. Although it is said in the scriptures that he had his own set of gopis and Krishna, he never associated with them. Still, this was only a pretext. This is Lok Sangra, only to cheat the public. Because then people would say, oh, how did Baladev Prabhu dance with Krishna's gopis? And that raised so many questions when it was not Baladev Prabhu. It was actually Krishna himself manifesting from Baladev Prabhu and engaged in leelas with the gopis. Therefore we say that yesterday was the same day as Krishna's Vasanti Ras also. So in one way these tithis are coinciding, means when Baladev is performing this Ras Yatra, at the same time Krishna himself manifested there and he also performed his Ras Yatra with all the gopis there. And this way he pacified the gopis who were feeling so much separation. But still we say separation is only meant to increase the mood of meeting. If anyone were to say that separation is the highest mood, then will they ever be happy to see Srimati Radhika and all the gopis eternally separated from Krishna? If Krishna were to be eternally in Dwaraka and Srimati Radhika and all the gopis were suffering so much, but still if the mood of separation is so high, then will the gopis be ever happy? This will be like a curse for the gopis. So therefore they did meet Krishna eventually. Because first there is meeting and then there is separation and again there is meeting. This way separation helps to enhance this meeting. So this way Baladev Prabhu, what did he do? From his own heart he manifested Krishna. And then Krishna, he met with each and every Vrajagopi, Vrajadevi, and he satisfied this the Vrajadevi's heart's desire. This way, therefore Baladev Prabhu is called Akhanda Guru Tattva. He is the undivided principle of Sri Guru. What does he do? He gives Krishna himself. What does Guru do? Guru gives Krishna through the mantras. Through Harinam, he gives Krishna himself. He is Ashraya Vigraha. He is so dear to Krishna that he is one with Krishna. Sakshat Daritvena. Similarly, this very principle of Sri Guru is coming from Baladev Prabhu himself. Therefore, sometimes some devotees would ask Gurudev that, oh, what about those who are initiated by Gurus who are not necessarily Uttamadhikaris or maybe not even Madhyamadhikaris? Gurudev said, anyhow, if Guru Ashtakam is sung for them, if prayers are offered to them, then those prayers ultimately reach the lotus feet of Baladev Prabhu, because he is the very origin. So you must have no doubt in this regard, he used to say. So this way, all these tithis, they coincided yesterday. So we offer our prayers at the lotus feet of all these beloved associates of Mahaprabhu especially. Because without the causeless mercy of Mahaprabhu and his associates, none of this could be understood. Who Krishna is, who Baladev Prabhu is, who Brajlila is. Because sometimes we take Mahaprabhu for granted. We think of Mahaprabhu is just Radha and Krishna combined. And our real aim is to be a maid servant of Srimati Radhika or is to achieve Krishna Prem. And we take Mahaprabhu for granted. So now Mahaprabhu, he has just come to show us what Krishna Bhakti is and how to perform pure devotional service to Krishna. But no, we must never take Mahaprabhu for granted. We say that Mahaprabhu in himself is such a wonderful Ishtadev. In himself, so much to be known about Mahaprabhu. Without dasaras and shantaras towards Mahaprabhu, one can never have prem towards Radha and Krishna. So therefore, knowing who Mahaprabhu is, we must try to realize who he really is. Then we will realize who Krishna is. Or else we'll just be like any of the other people who come to Vrindavan. They know who Radharani is, who Krishna is, but they know nothing about who Mahaprabhu is. They think he's just a Bengali saint, a Bengali devotee. That's it. They think he's a social reformer. But knowing who Mahaprabhu really is, then from that platform, we should proceed to know who Krishna is and who Srimati Radhika is. So I pray at the lotus feet of Baladev Prabhu, Sri Shyamanand Prabhu, Vamshivadana and Thakur, and especially Sri Hanuman, who embodies this Dasya Bhav, which is especially important for sadhaks to have, that we can also be blessed with pure devotional service for our Ishtadevs. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripasindhubhyascha vaitanam bhavanabhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha.
ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Pranams unto the lotus feet of our most worshipful Srila Gurudev, Nitya Lila, Pravishta Om, Vishnupad, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Srila Guru Maharaj, to Arupanuga Guru Varga, and to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So we've been following Sri Keshava Vrata, and finally this Vaishak month has begun yesterday. The Chaitra Purnima, that's the end of that month of Chaitra, and then following that is this Vaishak month. So this Chaitra Purnima, we know now we're beginning to appreciate with all these celebrations the speciality of this full moon. One is the appearance of Sri Hanuman, also especially in Mahaprabhu Leela, then these personalities are there. Both are eternal associates of Mahaprabhu. That is Vamshivadana Das, Vamshivadana Prabhu and Shyamananda Prabhu. Now, when we say they're eternal associates of Mahaprabhu, that means actually they're eternal associates of Radha and Krishna also. So Vamshivadana Prabhu, he is referred by many to be the incarnation of Krishna's flute. And in the pastime in Mahaprabhu Leela, he is known to be the sevak of Mother Sachi and Vishnupriya Devi. When Mahaprabhu took sannyas, then he was living in Jagannath Puri. We've heard that again, first he went South India, then the second time he passed by Bengal and he came to Navadvip, he came to Kulya, but he never went to Mayapur. In Kulya, then he stayed there for 10 days in the house of this Brahmin, Madhav. So that is the place where Vamshivadana took birth. And that appearance day was like yesterday. He appeared, Mahaprabhu was there. Later on, he grew up and he was given this service by Mahaprabhu to watch over Mother Sachi and Vishnupriya Devi. Later on, when it is said that in separation too much of Mahaprabhu, both Vamshivadana and Vishnupriya Devi, they were fasting, and Mahaprabhu did not agree with this. So he himself appeared and told them and gave this deity, like already been mentioned, that this deity of Dameshwar Mahaprabhu, very beautiful deity. Now there in Koladvip, sometimes during Navadvip Parikrama, then devotees, they also visit this Dameshwar Mahaprabhu. This was the deity taken care of by, or Mahaprabhu himself manifested to Vishnupriya Devi, and later on, Vamshivadana Prabhu, he was taken care of. So, also, the appearance day of Shyamananda Pandit, we know that he's not directly with Mahaprabhu, but he's an eternal associate of Mahaprabhu, just like our Narottam Das Thakur or Srinivas Acharya, just like our Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, our Param Gurudev, or Srila Gurudev. They are eternal associates of Mahaprabhu. In Mahaprabhu Lila in the eternal, that is their form. And so, therefore, like in this particular pastimes, they may appear like sadhak, but that is their form. So, Shyamananda Pandit, we know he is the disciple or Diksha disciple of Hridaya Chaitanya, the disciple of Gauridas Pandit. So, but he came here to Vrindavan by the order of his Gurudev, and he became one of the Shiksha disciples of Srila Jiva Goswami. So sometimes some devotees, they would mention, just like, and by practical experience, we have this with our Srila Gurudev. Sometimes we consider Srila Gurudev, Srila Van Goswami Maharaj, Srila Trivikram Maharaj, they themselves would say they are one soul in three bodies. So the same way, Narottam, Srinivas, Shyamananda, they are like that. They're considered to be like that. And they are there fulfilling the desire of our Guru Varga, especially desire of Jiva Goswami. So after the Goswamis, these three personalities, they're the ones who did very extensive preaching. So with Srinivas Pandit, then we know he has preached so much in Orissa, in that whole area in Orissa, and some places in Bengal. So this, and of course we already know how he became recipient of Srimati Radharani's like special mercy by, of course, by his service under Anugatya of Srila Jiva Goswami. He used to clean Saivakunj every morning, and he found his ankle bells. Everybody knows his story. This very famous temple here, this Radha Shyamasundar temple, and there you can see also this deity. There's the big deity of Shyamasundar, that is the deity of Baladev Vidyabhushan. The actual deity that was actually this was also manifested by Radharani herself, gifted to Shyamananda Pandit. That is the smaller deity on the left side of this big Radha Shyamasundar deity. That means your right side. So this you can have darshan in the temple. So also this speciality of this Chaitra Purnima, we know this is the last Purnima in this Basanta, like Rasa time. There's the Holy Purnima, Krishna he performed Rasa Lila. Also in this Chaitra Purnima, he's also performed his Rasa Lila. That was before Krishna left in his Naimitic pastime here. Then he was doing this Rasa Lila, Basanta Ras. So when he left, then we know later on he first sent Uddhav, then after that he sent Baladev. When he sent Baladev, then this Chaitra Purnima also became a time where Baladev, he did his Rasa Yatra with the gopis. So this is, of course, it's a deep subject matter. We've been hearing from Gopal Champu. In Gopal Champu, then there's a long discussion by Madhukanta and Shritakanta about Baladev's visit in Braj. Because Baladev, he visited for 2 months, and that was actually in this Chaitra month and this Vaishak month. So in this month, these 2 months, Baladev was here in Braj. But we have to understand, Baladev was coming here to pacify the gopis, actually acting in the service of Sri Krishna. We know that Uddhav could not pacify the Brijbasis. He himself accepted that, and he has realized, how great the love of the Brijbasis, especially the gopis. And later on, when Baladev was sent, and then this we can read from Gopal Champu, Baladev already crying, like, oh, how you can send me? He knows that they will not be satisfied. And so it is said that when he actually said this, Krishna looked at Uddhav, and Uddhav, he wrote a letter on behalf of Krishna, from Krishna's inspiration. And this letter was actually the message that Baladev brought to the gopis. So there's a whole some discussions about this Baladev dancing with the gopis, and for the sake of people not misunderstanding, then of course our Guru Varga is telling that yes, Baladev, he danced with his own gopis and not Krishna's gopis. But actually Jiva Goswami said, we have to understand that Baladev was there in the service of Krishna. Although Baladev is Bhagavan, we have to understand, and he's really not different from Krishna. But we know there's some difference, and what is that? His mood is not the same as Krishna, the enjoyer. His mood is, he's a sevak of Krishna, and he was there to serve Krishna. So first and foremost, he was there to pacify all the Brijbasis, especially the gopis, and again enliven them. And really, we could understand, and this is how Jiva Goswami explained, that he was actually the secondary pacifier. Through him, Krishna was pacifying the gopis. So Krishna himself was the first, and that's why they were there. For somehow they're pacified. So there's an important deliberation in this lila, and that is, Jiva Goswami explains that in Braj you can see three types of prem. There's the Vivek Sunya prem, this prem of the trees, the cows, that they may have some separation, like Krishna is not there, they may have some separation, but they don't have discrimination of time. That's why it's called Vivek Sunya. They don't know really, they're feeling separation, but they don't know how much time Krishna has already gone. And by the time he returns, it seems like they don't know so much that how much time has gone. Higher than this, of course, is those prem with the Dasya, and especially the Sakya, in Sakya Rati. So there, it said, their prem is Vishrambena, this Vishramba prem. We're so intimate that they're feeling separation, and they know every moment is so valuable. But it is said that their prem becomes satisfied by spurti. So when let's say the cowherd friends of Krishna in separation, then they see Krishna, then they become satisfied with that. But this is what Baladev, he realized, that in Vatsalya Rasa and in Madhurya Rasa, it cannot be satisfied even by spurti. And therefore this is Utkantamoy prem, this cannot be satisfied by spurti. So he may try to make them have some spurti of Krishna, but not satisfied. He himself had to call Krishna. When Baladev was with the gopis, even he himself became feeling the separation of the gopis. And therefore he called on Krishna, Krishna, please come. And this is how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that he arranged that each of the gopis, they meet Krishna, and then he was personally there. Actually, in that letter that he brought to the gopis, Krishna himself is saying, I am always there, and I'm in Dwarka, and I'm also always there. But of course, we know this cannot enough to satisfy them. But yeah, later on, Krishna appeared. He said, that's why there's Baladev, who is also black, like in this place in where is that? No, there's in Gokul. Yeah, in Gokul. In Gokul, the Baladev there is black because he's in separation also for Krishna. So there, in these 2 months, this Chaitra and Vaishak, then he's meeting and making all the Brijbasis remember and have that like feeling that Krishna is with them. So there's really no like question of like saying like, oh, Baladev is another enjoyer and now he's enjoying all these gopis. So this is the deliberation of our Guru Varga. One thing also, speciality of this Chaitra Purnima mentioned by Jiva Goswami is that in the pastime of Aristasura, that Krishna killed Aristasur, he mentioned that this took place in this Chaitra Purnima, and therefore he himself said that on this day, then Shyamakund and Radhakund like manifested. So this Chaitra Purnima actually is also the appearance day of this Radhakund and Shyamakund. Of course, everybody celebrates on Bahulashtami, and we know why, because in Mathura, this book by Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, Mathura Mahatmya, then they quote from Padma Puran, where it says that on Bahulashtami in Kartik, then everyone should take bath in like Radhakund. Of course, it doesn't say that is the appearance, but it says like should take bath, and this is very auspicious. So, remembering all this and appreciating all this very auspicious like festivals, and especially yesterday on this very Tithi, then Srila Gurudev's lotus like feet, shoes, like again like came here and now giving blessings to everyone, and therefore we know that we are always under Gurudev's like shelter, and therefore we pray that we always remain in his service and his shelter. Bansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam pavanivashnam.
टाइम तो हो गया साधना करना है ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुवरं श्रीरूपानुगप्रवरं व्रजरसरसिकं च नारायणं तं प्रपन्नम्। श्रीगुरुचरणं वन्दे रमणपृष्ठाय भूतले रूपानुगभक्तिदं च कृपामूर्ति नारायणम्। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। First of all, I offer my Sastanganandavat Pranam 1,000 times the lotus feet of Sri Paramaradhadam Guru Pada Padma Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev. Secondly, I offer my Sastanganandavat Pranams 1,000 of times the lotus feet of my Sri Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga. And I offer my Sastanganandavat Pranams unto all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Receiving the order and blessings from the Vaishnavas, I'll try to say a few words in remembrance of Hanuman Jayanti and today's Ras Purnima and the Tithis of Vamshivadana Prabhu and Shyamananda Prabhu. So we know that Ram is Maryada Purushottam, and Krishna is Leela Purushottam, Mahaprabhu is Prem Purushottam. And in Mahaprabhu's Leela, this Maryada, this rules and regulations, this etiquette is being established and taught. And we know that Hanuman, he is such a near and dear sevak of Shri Bhagavan Ramachandra. And wherever there is Ram, Hanuman must be there also. Ram's Leela cannot be complete without Hanuman. He plays such an important role. And he shows us really, he defines what is Prem, Dasya Prem. And in reality, those who are worshipping, coming in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Mahaprabhu is only worshipped in this Dasya Prem. Sri Guru Pada Padma and the Vaishnavas are only worshipped in this Dasya Prem. Mahaprabhu cannot be worshipped in Vatsalya, Sakya, Madhurya. He himself is absorbed in the mood of Radharani. And Mahaprabhu he himself has said that Maryada Ulangana Sahayata na pari. I cannot tolerate if there's any discrimination in Maryada. So Mahaprabhu is to be worshipped only in this Dasya Prem. Guru Pada Padma is also worshipped in this mood. Therefore we sing Vandomoyi Savadana Mate, Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagati Sadma. Very carefully we should worship the lotus feet of Shri Guru Pada Padma and the Vaishnavas. So when we want to understand what is Dasya Prem, then we can see, look into the life of Hanuman, how he is serving. We've been hearing Katha so many days now about the glories of this Ramdut Hanuman. There are many pastimes, many nice kathas. One special pastime I heard one time, very interesting. He described that sometimes we've heard that the sevak, sometimes they exhibit some, for purpose of Leela, they exhibit some pride. Like Garuda had some pride, and he was sent to Hanuman for his pride to be smashed in this way. So sometimes even Hanuman, he exhibits some pride. So Ramachandra, he saw this, and then he told Hanuman, oh, you know, Kakabhushundi is a very great devotee. And he's always speaking nice Harikatha. There's always nice satsanga is going on. Like we heard, all the eagles, birds and crows, everyone they're coming there, they're hearing. And not only that, so many coming there to hear Katha from Kakabhushundi. He's such a great devotee. So Ram is telling Hanuman, you should also do some satsanga, sadhu sangha. Go hear some Harikatha. So Hanuman is thinking, why you have to go to one crow, hear Harikatha from him? He's thinking in his mind, what benefit will I get? The fruit of sadhu sangha I have already got. I am with Ram. I am serving him day and night. What sadhu sangha I'll do? But because Ram is requesting, then Hanuman is like, okay, I'll go. So he goes and he sits in the back of the Harikatha, and Kakabhushundi is speaking. And he's speaking about this Sundarakanda. And there in that he describes that how Hanuman standing on the bank of the ocean, he used his special vision, his special glance, and he saw that across the ocean there in the Ashoka Vatika, Sita was there. And with one jump, he jumped across the ocean, landed there in the Vatika, and there he picked up Sita, and then he opened his third eye, he burnt all of Lanka on fire, and then he brought Sita back to Ram and returned. Then Hanuman is thinking, this is very bogus Harikatha. I never did any of these things. First of all, when I jumped across the ocean, many demons, they attacked me. And it was very difficult. I crossed the ocean after great difficulty. And then there Lankini, I had to cross Lankini. Then only coming there into Lanka, only by Vibhishan's advice, then I found Sita. And only by dropping then the jewelry to her, she accepted. She would talk to me. And then she said that she would only wait for Ram to take her back. I never did any of these things. And only after they put my tail on fire did I burn Lanka. What's all this nonsense? This is speaking these things. So then he came back, and then Ram asked Hanuman, oh, did you hear Harikatha? How was the Harikatha? Or Hanuman in his mind was like, oh, best Harikatha, very good, very nice Harikatha. But in reality he was thinking, oh, this is such a bogus Harikatha. All wrong things telling. So Ram, he saw that, oh, Hanuman has some doubt in his mind. And Kakabhushundi has some doubt in Sadhu Sangha. So Ram took off his ring from his finger and he threw on the ground. And he told Hanuman, can you pick up my ring for me? Then Hanuman looked at Ram, why he throw his ring on the ground? Why he asking me to pick up? And when he went to catch the ring, then the ring began to move. As he's trying to chase the ring started flying in the sky very fast. Then Hanuman, with all his power, he's flying after this ring. He's trying to catch this ring. And the ring is flying, and it's crossing the ocean and going into one mountain inside one cave. Then Hanuman went very carefully, slowly he goes inside the cave. Then to his surprise, what does he see there? He sees there's one big pile of rings there. And sitting next to the pile of one asan is one old monkey there. Grey hair, white hair, and he's chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. So Hanuman, very surprised, he comes and he offers his pranam to that monkey. He said, who are you? And he said, oh, I know who. Then Hanuman, that white monkey, opens his eyes. He said, oh, Hanuman, you have come. I've been waiting for you. And Hanuman asked, who are you? What is this place? I have come in search for Ram's ring. He said, yes, I know. So I am also Hanuman. From a previous kalpa, I, like you also, I was very proud. And Ram, he performed this leela for me. So don't have any doubt in Kakubhushundi. This Ram Katha that he is speaking, this is Katha from a previous kalpa. This is how the Ramayana unfolded in a previous day of Brahma. This is how Sita was rescued. This is how I performed service. And every time Hanuman becomes pride, then Ram performs this leela and he drops his ring. So you see all these mountains of rings here. So many days of Brahma here, so many Hanumans have become proud. And now I am sitting here waiting for you. Now you will also, this place will be very dear to you. You will also do your sadhan here. And next time Hanuman becomes proud, Ram will perform this leela again and he will come and then you will explain everything to him. And then that Hanuman offering his pranam, then he left from that place. So this is the glories of Sadhu Sangha. We cannot understand. Sometimes the Sadhu, the Vaishnavas, the Guru, they speak so many things we cannot realize. But their realizations are very, very deep. And they go beyond all time, place and circumstance. So in this way, Ram Katha is very, very astonishing, very, very wonderful. Many pastimes there, many beautiful things related to Hanuman's service. Gurudev used to speak all of these things, describing Hanuman's prem for Ram, how he is serving, how Hanuman, he first met Ram and Lakshman. Ram and Lakshman were walking in the forest. And then Sugriv, this Nal and Neel, they were saying, oh, there's some two Vanavasis, they're walking in the forest. And they weren't sure, who are they? They are coming from Bali's camp, or who they are. So they sent Hanuman in disguise like a Brahman. And Hanuman, then he went and he was talking with Lakshman and Ram. And he was joking and speaking in very hidden ways. But slowly as Ram was answering, he was so beautiful, his swarup. He's so shant, so peaceful and composed and very polite. And so many transcendental qualities in Ram. And Hanuman's heart was becoming more and more attracted. Who are these personalities? My heart is naturally going towards them. Naturally I want to surrender myself to them. Then Hanuman, he remembered that when Hanuman was born, all the different demigods, they gave different gifts to Hanuman. So Brahma, I think it was Brahma, he gave one necklace to Hanuman. And he said that actually this necklace, no one can see this necklace. But when you meet with your Prabhu Ram, only he will be able to see this necklace. And this is how you will be able to understand that you are connected and united with your Prabhu. So Hanuman asked Ram, what am I wearing on my neck? Then Ram saw this beautiful necklace. So I said, you have a beautiful necklace on your neck? Then Hanuman was convinced, oh, this is my Ram. He has recognized me. And then he revealed his original swarup as Hanuman, and he surrendered and offered his pranam and touched the feet of Ram. And this way then he brought Ram and Lakshman to where Sugriv was staying. And this is how this friendship between Sugriv and Ram, it began. And then we know all this, and then how Sugriv, he helped Ram then to find Sita. And this is how the Ramayana is unfolded. Many nice, beautiful pastimes in this way. Also, Baladev's Rasayatra. We heard nice explanations now. How Baladev, who he is, Akhanda Guru Tattva, his mood is always what? Service to Krishna. He is always serving in so many ways. Everything he does is service for him. Therefore we can see even in Mahabharata, whenever there was any conflict, but if Krishna, he expressed his desire, then even Baladev, he would become silent and he would accept. He's never going against the desire of Krishna. So therefore, him performing Ras with the gopis, this is only his Krishna seva, his service to Krishna. And ultimately, in this way, then he united Krishna with the gopis. So this is Guru's function. He is always uniting the jiva with Mahaprabhu, uniting with Radha and Krishna. This is their only purpose. Connecting us, uniting us with their lordships. Helping us advance and increase our devotion for them. They have no other purpose. Therefore, they are embodiments of compassion, embodiments of mercy. This is this parampara coming down from Baladev Prabhu, this mood embodied in them. And Vamshivadana Prabhu, he is the incarnation of Krishna's flute. And when Jiva Goswami came to Navadip Dham to perform his parikram, that time he also had darshan of Vamshivadana Prabhu. And that there, along with Vishnu Priya and everyone else. And Shyamananda Prabhu, before he was known as Dukhi Krishna Das, and then realizing that, because Hridaya Chaitanya, his guru is in Sakya Ras, but Shyamananda Prabhu is who? He is Kanak Manjari. Therefore, in order to progress further in his mood and his service, therefore he came and took shiksha from Jiva Goswami. And therefore, in that higher association, in that higher mood, then he was able to perfect his prem in that way. So this example Gurudev used in his Prabandha Panchikam to establish the Bhagavat Parampara. To show that actually the Bhagavat Parampara is not based only on Panchatik Diksha, but where Bhajan Nishta is strong, that relationship, that Sambandha is strong, that is where the Parampara is flowing. That is where the Parampara is coming down. So Shyamananda Prabhu, his relation with Jiva Goswami was so intimate. And therefore, that relation is based on what? Shiksha, the Bhagavat Parampara. And this is why our Parampara is established on this priti, on this affection, this Sambandha. Where that Sambandha is strongest, that is where the Parampara, the devotion is flowing. This is where the line is continuing. Whether it's for Diksha or Shiksha does not matter. But that Sambandha, that priti should be there. Then the Parampara is coming down. Unless someone may have Diksha, but there's no priti there, there's no love, there's no affection, then how will the teachings, Uparekshana Titya Jnanam, Jnana Tattva Darshana, how will those things be disseminated? How will they come? Without love, these things cannot be distributed. So all these things are there. We're praying to the Lord's feet of the Vaishnavas that they may always keep us in their company and bless us, that we may sincerely progress on the path of bhakti. Praying in this way, offer my Dandavad, Vancha Kalpatarubhastha ki Pasinda Vedha, Vittanam Bhavani Vaishnava.